2020 has brought us, the words of the old preacher ring truer in my life than ever. It is a blessing to be in the land of the dying on our way to the land of the living. And I'm glad to be able to come into your space and into your homes, into your devices, and wherever you are. And despite what's going on, give you a few moments of inspiration. I'm your pastor of Internet and Innovation, Kervance Ross, and you're tuned in to the right place at the right time, called New Birth, where our senior pastor is Dr. Jamal Bryant, and we are excited to come in this lunchtime moment, and some of you all may be watching it on replay, whether you're on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, our website, or you just caught us by streaming wherever you are. We're excited to be with you. If you take a moment to share, tag, text, and let everybody you know realize that 15 minutes of daily inspiration has started. Wherever you are on social media, I'll be there, and I encourage you to follow me at I am Kervance Ross, and I promise to follow you back. And if you download our New Birth app right now to give you an opportunity to stay connected on every platform in every way so that we can make sure we encourage you. We're in the midst of a series that was started by our senior pastor, Dr. Jamal Bryant, called Making the Top 10. And as a result, I started a series underneath the umbrella of Making the Top 10, from the concept of stewardship and giving. And I've been in this series called Happy Money. And I appreciate you for sharing, for continuing talking about how much it has encouraged you and inspired you. And today's segment of Happy Money is what I call the pursuit of happiness. For all of the grammar school teachers who say you spelled it wrong, there's a reason that it is spelled with a Y and not an I. And the passage of scripture that I'm going to use is a familiar one, Philippians 4, verses 10 through 14. I'm reading from the Eugene Peterson Message version of the Bible, and it says, I'm glad in God, for happier than you would ever guess. Happy that you're again showing such strong concern for me. Not that you ever quit praying or thinking about me. You just had no chance to show it. Actually, I don't have a sense of needing anything personally. I've learned by now to be quite content whatever my circumstances. I'm just as happy with little as I am with much as with little. I found the recipe for being happy, whether full or hungry, hands full or hands empty. Whatever I have, wherever I am, I can make it through anything in the one who makes me who I am. I don't mean that your help didn't mean a lot to me. It did. It was a beautiful thing that you came alongside me in troubles. Will Smith brought him to the big screen. Self-will brought him to optimum success. It's one of the greatest movies I've ever watched. In 1981, it chronicles in the area of San Francisco a salesman named Chris Gardner. This individual invests his entire life savings into a portable bone density scanner, which by creating this process demonstrates to doctors and pitches a handy quantum leap over standard x-rays. The scanners play a vital role in Chris's life. While he's able to sell most of them, the time lag between the sales and his growing financial demands put him in a place where he's alienated from his wife, Linda, and he finds himself in a situation where his infant son is in need of fatherly support. Because Chris has the trouble selling these scanners, as they only produce a slightly better picture than the x-rays he's competing with, he doesn't make enough money. And one day he finds himself in a circumstance where he's got to decide between happiness and a pursuit of what he's decided that he's chasing after. It's only in a just society that men and women can fully be human. And it results in you fully being human that you're able to pursue full happiness. Living in such a highly patriotic country, the emblem of happiness was about getting and or obtaining, but always in the place and in the passage of trying to arrive. And one day, Chris meets a gentleman named Jay Twistle. He's a manager at Dean Witter. And this individual is asked two questions by Chris. What do you do, and how much money do you make? Chris found out that this individual per week made $80,000. And it was enough for Chris to put his mindset in place, in tune, and start focusing on getting out of his circumstance and getting in a place where money became happy for him and his pursuit became great. And the movie chronicles a biopic of Chris Gardner's life, but when you hear from the real Chris Gardner, what you start to realize is this moment was a shifter, because by impressing Mr. Twistle with a Rubik's Cube, by managing the steps of being better and getting tired of sleeping in the Bay Area rapid transit system bathrooms because he had run out of money. He had been kicked out of homeless shelters. He now has to cultivate his son, and it seems as though sometimes the work does not balance out the pursuit. And it seems like in many of our lives, just like in Chris, every time he tried to make 2 steps forward, he was making 5 steps back. Somebody's watching me who understands that you've been trying to pursue happiness, and every time you try to move forward, it looks like you're falling back further and further from your pursuit. What you start to understand is Chris Gardner is from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. His son was an infant at this time, and his pursuit was due to his mother, who was imprisoned twice. She received welfare while working, and because of receiving government assistance and trying to make a do for a family, she was imprisoned. Second time she was imprisoned because she attempted to burn down the house that her husband and Chris's stepfather, who abused her viciously, was in, and she got tired of it and attempted to burn the house down, and they decided to lock her up a second time. His last Christmas with his abusive stepfather put him in a position where his father, after beating him at gunpoint, puts his son, his stepson, out in the cold, in the nude. To make matters worse, as he's progressing, he finds himself raped by a man who was a leader of a gang. And all of these things that would oppress him and seemingly steal his happiness becomes the fuel for him being better than his circumstances. And as I think about this, I started to ask the question in the Declaration of Independence, what does the phrase, the pursuit of happiness, actually mean? This is what the American forefathers had in mind when Jefferson declared that the pursuit of happiness was an inalienable right, along with life and liberty. And the story goes that Jefferson, on an advice and informational conversation with Benjamin Franklin, substituted the phrase pursuit of happiness for the word property, which is favored by George Mason. And Franklin thought that property was too narrow of a notion, so he broadened it by saying every person has the right, the life, and the liberty to be able to pursue happiness. But what exactly is happiness? It's not what I do, in the words of Chris. And what I do is not who I am. It's about the journey. I want to stop and inspire you, give you a reality that in your giving, in your circumstance, and in your current space in life, many of you are in pursuit of happiness. You are trying to change your circumstance. COVID has handed you a raw hand, a bad deal, and you're trying to figure out, if God is for me, why is it so far away from me to obtain my happiness? How can I keep going after opportunities and starting my business and focusing in on my purpose? And it looks like God is against me. My happiness is not coming into fruition. Some of you are looking at me through the lens and looking at me through your device, trying to figure out when will happiness come my way? How long do I have to suffer? How long do I have to struggle? How long do I have to pursue this happiness? And not only is Chris allowing me to talk about the pursuit of happiness in this happy money dynamic, but I found a man named Paul. Paul here is talking in this book called Philippians to the church at Philippi. And as he is writing, he finds himself in prison. He's using this entire chapter after a man named Epaphroditus has come to him to try to give him some resources, some finances in his moment of seeming depravity and his own circumstance in being in a prison. He decides, even in his circumstance, this was a good time to encourage the church. He says, I've been quarantined in my prison. I've been confined to my circumstance, and I know you're coming to invest in me. You're coming to give, but let me help you understand that before you get too down on me, I'm okay in the situation I'm in. I'm in prison and I'm up for execution. I could lose my life, or if I lose it, in my eyes, I'm gaining because it connects me to the sacrifice of Christ. Because if I lose, I still win. And if I get free, I win for others, because in this journey, my pursuit of happiness is to be able to invest in the lives of others. It made my money happy. It made my currency happy. The currency of life was my ability to use what God had given me to give it to others. I know who I used to be. I know I used to be a persecutor. I know I used to be a murderer of Christians. I know I held the cloak of so many others. But this moment, I've gotten to the point where no matter what goes on in my life, I'm content. Before I get out of this space, I want to encourage you, much like Paul, much like Chris, much like Will Smith, be content and happy wherever you are. Your joy, your happiness is not a determination of what you do. It's not just what you've been given. It is not just the circumstance that you're in, but it's the reality that giving turns around and allows you to be blessed. And Paul is looking at it, and he sees the current circumstance, and he says, I've been here before, but God still took care of me. I've gone through this before, and God still brought me out, despite being on the backdrop of the Roman Empire and being in a place where patriotic gestures of the flag and of the current circumstance of the Constitution in Rome is overthrowing people who are marginalized and minimized. I still have a sense of happiness, and I'm not going to stop pursuing it. It doesn't look like things are going well. I've seen other people give and find joy no matter what the case is. I've watched my other apostles and disciple friends get joy and get peace. I realized that Stephen gave it all and he was stoned to death. Epaphroditus was getting sick doing the Lord's work. Timothy got stomach trouble. Matthias was killed with a sword in Ethiopia. Mark was dragged through the streets of Alexandria. Luke was hanged to death on a tree in Greece. John was boiled in a kettle of hot burning oil. Peter was crucified on the cross with his head down and his heels up. But I still found a pursuit of happiness, because no matter what was going on, I got joy, I got happiness, I got peace. I've learned how to have a lot. I've learned how to not have a lot. I've learned how to be abased. I've learned how to abound. I've realized that I control the happiness. As long as I'm giving, the Lord is always blessing. And that's an encouraging word for you as you pursue your happiness, no matter what your circumstance is, wherever you find yourself happy. Continue pursuing it. Realize that your currency is not just in your pocket. Your currency is in your heart. It's in your gifts to give. Your gifts to give to people even when it doesn't look like anything is coming back. I've seen God bless over and over again. When you give, God gives to you, knowing that these circumstances are only temporary. And if you keep giving, if you find yourself in a space where you've pursued happiness, you'll find yourself much like Chris Gardner, much like the movie, much like Paul, and being able to say, I'm happy in Jesus alone. I realize that God has been good, and it doesn't matter what circumstance you're in. Your currency is not just your finance in your pocket, Your currency is the ability to be able to give to others. And watch what you give. God give it back to you, some 20, some 40, some 60, 80, and even 100-fold. Because you have your pursuit of happiness. Happy money is where you're headed. And all of a sudden, you'll find yourself in the top 10, watching God change your circumstance. I'm out of my time. I'm so grateful for yours. I thank you for tuning in. I pray that this message blessed you and inspired you, encouraged you. And we want you to not stop at the inspiration. But I want you to realize that giving is your call. And you can be a part of the top 10 right now. Make sure that you make a sacrifice today to give to the kingdom of God here at New Birth. You see the prompts on the screen. You can simply text NBGIVE to 77977. You can go to Givelify or PushPay. We're right here waiting to allow your gift to turn around and grow on your behalf. On top of that, the greatest gift you'll ever give is your life to Christ. And we offer Christ to you right now in the middle of the week. If you would simply text or tag right now on the screen, you see it says joinnewbirth.org. If you click that, go and not just be friends, visitors, but become family. We have people waiting on you to pull you in to the connection of the body of Christ. And if you need prayer, you can now email us at prayer@newbirth.org. We have prayer warriors and intercessors waiting to pray for you. September 13th is a big day because this demonstration Sunday. And you're going to be in the top 10 with us, and we're going to watch your resources, your life, and your money turn around for the good. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm your pastor of Internet and Innovation, Kervance Ross. We want to keep encouraging you. I pray you have a drama-free and virus-free remainder of the week. I love you, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. Peace.
And now, New Birth, it's time for your video announcements. We'd like to say happy birthday to everyone born in the month of September. May God's riches and blessings overtake you. Hey, we're just 1 week away from Demonstration Tithing Sunday. We're excited about what God is doing in our lives. On Sunday, September 13th, we are encouraging all members and frequent visitors to collectively tithe. Also, we encourage others to commit to begin tithing. Please visit our website to complete our Top 10 questionnaire or text NB Top 10 to 71441. Next Sunday, it's Demonstration Tithing Sunday. Don't miss it. Our pastor's vision for feeding the community is made manifest on a weekly basis. If you need free groceries, please come by our King's Table Saturday from 10 a.m. until 12 p.m. Everyone is welcome at the King's Table. Also, we want you to visit our Call to Conquer bookstore. That's right, just log on to newbirth.org, click the store icon, and there you can find the book of the month, the New Birth face mask, and all your ministry needs. Just log on today at newbirth.org. And Emerging Generations is seeking volunteers who are reliable, flexible, energetic, creative, passionate, patient, organized, teachable, and a team player. Just visit newbirth.org and complete the volunteer leader application. And that's gonna do it for our video announcements.